US Airways Flight 1549 was a regularly scheduled flight from New York City's LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte and Seattle in the United States. On January 15, 2009, the Airbus A320 took off as usual from LaGuardia Airport with 150 passengers and 5 crew on board. The pilots that day were Captain Chesley Sullenberger, affectionately known as Sully, and First Officer Jeffrey Skiles. At 15:24 Eastern State Time, the aircraft took off without incident from runway 4, with Skiles at the controls, the crew using callsign Cactus 1549, reported being airborne at 15:25:51 at 700 feet and climbing. The weather was fine as they ascended with intermittent clouds, and Sullenberger remarked to Skiles, "What a view of the Hudson today." Just seconds later, while flying at 2,818 feet and 4.5 miles northwest of LaGuardia Airport, the plane was struck by a flock of Canada geese. The aircraft was engulfed by birds, and both passengers and crew heard loud bangs, followed by flames coming from the engines. Soon after, there was silence, and the smell of fuel filled the cabin. Captain Sullenberger took control of the plane after realising that both engines had shut down, whilst First Officer Skiles attempted to restart the aircraft. The plane climbed to an altitude of 3,060 feet for a few seconds before beginning to glide down, accelerating to 240 miles per hour. At 15:27:33, Sullenberger alerted New York Terminal Radar Approach Control of his predicament. Take a listen to this remarkably calm call between Sully and the air traffic controller, who eventually loses contact.
Cactus 1549 is Squawk 7134, and we're runway 4, 360 at 5,000.
Okay, 1549, LaGuardia clearance, readback correct, ground point 7, verify information, Papa.
We have Papa, thank you. Cactus 1549.
Ground point 7.
Crown Cactus 1549, taxi please.
Cactus 1549, taxi Foxtrot Bravo, hold short echo. Just got to hold you for about 3 minutes for your intro to Charlotte.
Foxtrot Bravo, short echo, Cactus 1549.
Cactus 1549, follow northwest, you come on the tower.
Cactus 1549, follow northwest, Minor Tower, thank you.
Cactus 1549, LaGuardia runway 4, position to hold traffic to land 31.
Position hold runway 4, Cactus 1549.
Cactus 1549, runway 4, cliff takeoff.
Cactus 1549, clear.
1549. Cactus 1549, contact New Departure Connect.
Good day.
Cactus 1549, 700, climbing 5,000.
Cactus 1549, New Departure to contact, climb, maintain 15,000.
Maintain 15,000, Cactus 1549.
Cactus 1549, turn left heading 270.
This is Cactus 1539, hit birds, we've lost thrust on both engines, returning back towards LaGuardia.
Okay, you need to return to LaGuardia. Turn left heading up 220.
220.
Tower, stop your departures, got emergency returning. It's 1529. He bird strike. He lost all engine. He lost the thrust in the engines. He's returning immediately.
Cactus 1529. Which engines?
He lost thrust in both engines. He said.
Got it.
Cactus 1529. We can get it for you. Do you want to try to land runway 13?
We're unable. We may end up in the Hudson.
Showing 2760. Turn left 070.
070, showing 2760.
All right, Cactus 1549. It's gonna be left traffic to runway 31.
Unable.
Okay, what do you need to land? Cactus 1549, runway 4 is available if you want to make left traffic to runway 4.
I'm not sure we can make any runway. What's over to our right? Anything in New Jersey, maybe Teterboro?
Okay, yeah, off your right side is Teterboro Airport. Do you want to try to go to Teterboro?
Yes.
Teterboro, Empire, actually LaGuardia departure guy, emergency inbound.
Hey, guys.
Cactus 1529 over the George Washington Bridge, wants to go to the airport right now.
Wants to go to our airport. Check. Does he need assistance?
Yes, it was a bird strike. Can I get him in for runway 1?
Runway 1, that's good.
Cactus 1529, turn right 280, you can land runway 1 at Teterboro.
We can't do it.
Okay, which runway would you like at Teterboro?
We're going to be in the Hudson.
I'm sorry, say again, Cactus? All right. Showing 2760, contact New York 126.8.
26.8, showing 27.6.
Cactus 1549, radar contact is lost. You also got Newark Airport up at 2 o'clock in about 7 miles. Eagle Flight 4718, turn left heading 210.
210, 4718. I think he said he was going in the Hudson.
Cactus 1529, you saw him? Cactus 1529, if you can, you got runway 29 available at Newark up at 2 o'clock in 7 miles. Eagle Flight 4718, climb maintain 12000.
Okay, 1000 and even 5 at 288.
Eagle Flight 4718, I'm sorry, I missed that. Say again?
And we're up to 12,000, 280 on head.
Okay, thank you. Eagle Flight 4718, turn left 220.
220, 4718.
Was that Cactus up by the Tappan Zee?
Yeah, it was the Cactus. He was just north of the George Washington Bridge when they had the bird strike.
Hey, Patty.
Yeah.
7NY, I'll just put him on a 270 heading, and him at 6.
Whatever you want, man.
And maybe I'll put behind him on a 180 for weight.
Okay. That's good. All right, departure. We're stopped on departure. Runway 4, 360's runway.
Okay.
You know about the Cactus.
Right.
I guess it was a double bird strike, and he lost all thrust, so.
Air Coaster 780 Echoes, winning 7,000, right turn to
What do you want to do
190.
as far as the departure?
Okay. We'll figure it out.
250, 15, 80 Echo, the altimeter 3024. You're not talking to JetLink yet. They're gone. All frequencies
Just those
are
three.
normal.
Okay.
Yeah.
The plane flew less than 900 feet above the George Washington Bridge, bringing the Hudson River ever closer to the passengers and crew. Sully explained the situation to the passengers, instructing them to brace for impact as they prepared for an emergency landing on the Hudson River. The flight attendants reinforced this command. Meanwhile, air traffic controllers notified the Coast Guard to warn boats in the Hudson River about the incoming plane and to prepare for a potential rescue. At 3:30 p.m, the plane began its powerless descent at a speed of 140 miles per hour toward the Hudson River, specifically in the North River section, approximately across from West 50th Street in Midtown Manhattan, as the flight attendants shouted in unison, "Brace, brace, brace, heads down, stay down," over and over again. The plane hit the water at a speed of 140 miles per hour. Take a look at this incredible actual footage of the moment the plane lands on the Hudson River. Later, flight attendants described the landing as hard, noting there was one impact, no bounce, and then a gradual stop, before the ebb tide began to push the plane southward. Passengers described how the plane jolted and shook as it skimmed the surface of the river. Initially, as the water engulfed the plane, the pilots thought it was heading straight to the bottom of the river, but to their amazement, as the plane slowed down and came to a halt, they realized they were floating intact on the water. After a few stunned moments, Sullenberger opened the cockpit door and gave the order to evacuate. By now, the icy water of the Hudson started leaking into the fuselage. The crew began evacuating the panicked passengers through the 4 overwing window exits and into an inflatable slide raft deployed from the front right passenger door. The evacuation was made more difficult by the fact that someone opened the rear left door, allowing more water to gush into the plane. Flight attendants urged passengers to move forward by climbing over seats. One passenger was a wheelchair user. Eventually, all the passengers were outside of the cabin, either on the wing or on the inflatable chutes. Finally, Sullenberger walked the cabin twice to confirm it was empty. He and Skiles were the last to leave the stricken aircraft. The air and water temperatures were about 19 degrees Fahrenheit and -7 degrees Celsius, and 41 degrees Fahrenheit and 5 degrees Celsius, respectively. Evacuees waited for rescue in knee-deep water on the partially submerged slides. Some had managed to grab life jackets from underneath the seats and were wearing them, while others precariously stood on the wings as the aircraft began to sink. Fearing an explosion, some passengers decided to jump into the frigid water and swim away from the plane. Fortunately, all who jumped were able to swim to a rescue boat. the rescue operation was significantly aided by the aircraft's equipment. Thankfully, the aircraft was designed for extended over-water operations, which meant there were enough life vests on board and the exit slides could be detached for use as rafts. 2 NY waterway ferries quickly arrived at the scene and within minutes began rescuing people using a Jason's cradle. This maritime rescue device, similar to a scramble net, is made of cloth webbing and was suspended over the side of the boats. Numerous boats came to their aid, and Captain Sullenberger advised that those on the wings should be rescued first, as they were in greater danger than those on the detached slides. By 3:55 p.m, every person aboard the plane had been rescued. Approximately 140 firefighters from New York City, along with police, helicopters, various vessels and divers, assisted in the rescue, while medical assistance awaited on the riverbank. Remarkably, every single passenger and crew member survived the ordeal, with only 5 sustaining serious but non-life-threatening injuries. 75 people required medical treatment, primarily for minor injuries and hypothermia, while 24 passengers and 2 rescuers needed to be hospitalized. In the aftermath of the heroic water landing, Captain Sullenberger was celebrated as a national hero. He and his crew graced the front pages of newspapers around the world. Both US President George W. Bush and President-elect Barack Obama expressed their gratitude to Captain Sullenberger for saving the lives of the passengers aboard Flight 1549. Obama even invited Sullenberger and his crew to the presidential inauguration. On January 16, 2009, the US Senate passed a resolution honouring Sullenberger and those involved in the incident, and the House of Representatives followed with a similar resolution on January 26, 2009. A few months after the incident, during an interview with AARP magazine, Captain Sullenberger was asked how he managed to execute such a nearly perfect water landing. He replied, "One way of looking at this might be that for 42 years I've been making small, regular deposits in this bank of experience, education and training, and on January 15th the balance was sufficient for me to make a very large withdrawal." In 2009, Captain Chesley "Sully" Sullenberger released his memoir titled Highest Duty: My Search for What Really Matters. This book was later adapted into a feature film called Sully, directed by Clint Eastwood and starring Tom Hanks. The film premiered on September 9, 2016. To prevent similar bird strike incidents, officials in New York City captured and euthanized 1,235 Canada geese at 17 locations in mid-2009. They also coated 1,739 goose eggs with oil to smother the developing goslings. By 2017, it is estimated that approximately 70,000 birds had been intentionally killed in New York City as a direct consequence of the crash. Each passenger on the flight received a letter of apology and $5,000 in compensation for lost baggage. Additionally, if passengers could demonstrate greater financial losses, they were eligible for another $5,000 along with a refund of their ticket price. Some passengers reported being offered up to $10,000 each in exchange for agreeing not to sue US Airways. Many passengers and rescuers later experienced symptoms of post-traumatic stress, including sleeplessness, flashbacks, panic attacks, and claustrophobia. Understandably, most of them developed a fear of flying. On January 17, 2009, the severely damaged and waterlogged Airbus A320 was dragged from the Hudson River and examined to determine the cause of the crash. Investigators were satisfied that the aircraft had crashed due to loss of both engines caused by a bird strike. In January 2010, the insurance firm Chartis auctioned the plane online for 3 months, but it didn't sell due to the significant damage. Eventually, it was donated to the Carolinas Aviation Museum, where visitors learned about its dramatic accident through passenger testimonies. The museum closed in 2019 and was reopened as the Sullenberger Aviation Museum. In 2024, the aircraft is now part of the Miracle on the Hudson exhibit, which features salvaged items and a large screen showcasing A320's journey on the day of the accident. It's important to recognise that a water landing without power is extremely dangerous, and the successful outcome of this incident has led to the commonly used phrase, "miracle on the Hudson." While manufacturers and regulators provide procedures for water landings, also known as ditching, such events are rare in practice. The investigation uncovered several key findings from the piloting perspective, using extensive flight simulator reenactments of the incident. These simulations assessed whether the pilots could have returned to LaGuardia Airport or diverted to Teterboro. The results showed that attempting to return to either airport could have had disastrous outcomes, confirming that Captain Sullenberger's decision was indeed the correct one. Several factors contributed to the successful and miraculous ditching of the aircraft. In addition to the swift and appropriate actions taken by the pilots, favourable weather conditions and clear visibility on that day played a significant role. The aircraft's design for water landings, the quick reactions of the cabin crew, and the proximity of vessels ready to respond also contributed to the successful outcome. The water landing of US 1549 is regarded as one of the most remarkable aviation stories in recent history.